Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hyrule Chronicles, Legend of Zelda Dungeons & Dragons campaign, is run by myself, ArticulateT. This is episode 114, and as always I have with me Nether playing Renji Vox.
Yee-hoo.
I have Avrdal being played by, playing Hikan.
Hello.
I have Robopirate playing Zaidan.
Hello.
And I have Max being played by Keithstrith.
Hi.
So, folks, what happened last time?
Well, last time, after helping as many of the still living citizens of Sarkosa as we could, we eventually met back up with Lady Risha, and through a lot of brainstorming with Mara verifying the aspects of what happened through an insight check with Renji, and generally just trying to heal and prepare, we go into the middle of town, destroying the zombies with a combination of brains, with a combination of magic, with might, by getting them all to the center of town with the most important power ever, the power of theater. And for the most part, everything went well. The only person to get hurt outside of the temporary hit points was Mara. And with all, or at least close enough to count, of the ghouls gone, we left with Mara injured and about to check in on that.
Yeah. Yes, indeed, that is the case. Return to the war-torn, previously zombie and ghoul-afflicted streets of Sarkosa. The sky still this smoggy orange color as the fires that still rage in certain locations in Sarkosa continue unabated. However, besides the flickering fires, it is now quiet around you. The various bodies of the undead, mangled and torn apart in a variety of ways, lay motionless in the streets. Piles of things just pushed to the side or crushed or disintegrated under great arcane and martial force. You yourselves stand within a circle that of flame that is very quickly dying down, lit from a oil-filled trench as part of your elaborate trap. Mara herself, having recently been struck by by a member of this undead legion that you have vanquished, is currently laying on her back. She is moving, though you can see like the top of her like collar, like the sort of shoulder cover that goes with her coat has been torn just below the neck. There is no blood as far as you can see.
She has no blood. Oh my god.
I'm gonna go check anyway.
You check it on Mara, and you can see like she's dropped her mace, which still kind of crackles and flickers nearby, having not been turned off since it left her grasp. And she kind of sits up briefly and breathes quite deep, calming breaths, and just.
You're okay.
Little shocked, I guess. And she kind of reaches up to pat her neck as if to check for injuries, and she feels like there's a pause, and her shoulders kind of slouch a little bit as she relaxes somewhat from the lack of injury. Then she stops and thinks, while continuing to pat her chest and her neck, like reaching just underneath the scraps of her clothes, and then looking around quite frantically to where that ghoul once was.
I look at the pile of ash.
Give me a perception check.
I know which pile of ash it is. I made that one. 14.
Among the ash, you see, having been relieved of the rest of its body, appears to be a gnarled, clawed, formerly ghoulish hand that has been like burned from the rest of the arm, laying on the ground, and it's still clenched in a fist, and still has like scraps of leather and cloth within the fingers.
I'm gonna go check it.
Okay. You head over and check this hand. It doesn't like suddenly animate and try and skitter away.
If it did, it would explode. I still have some spell slots left, and one of them is a 4th.
Weirdly enough, I still have my 8th level left.
I can also just cast Eldritch Blast.
No.
I got a rock.
Yes, I
You've got
can.
a rock.
I'm perfectly capable of doing so.
Yeah.
I have cold tips.
Okay.
That's fair.
So you head over. You kind of lean down, and you, and if you pry the fingers open, not a terribly difficult thing to do. It was already dead. There's no chance of rigor mortis setting in after undeath. You see that amidst the clutter of cloth appears to be the 4 or 5 parts of what was once a delicate golden necklace. The one, those of you who might have seen Mara outside of the clothes that she is currently wearing know that she wore that basically wherever she went.
That egg.
Hey.
That's what I was thinking about as well.
You head over, like you cast mending, and amidst the pieces they begin to merge back together, returning to this. It is a nice, delicate design. It is like a series of flowing sort of lines and something akin to a shield shape, of this like delicate golden filigree. So it's not difficult to imagine that anyone with substantial hand strength would probably, like with a good squeeze, would break it.
Yeah.
But it manages to repair itself.
It's
and
not
even...
fighting jewelry.
Yeah. And the golden chain that was around her neck also begins to kind of snap back together to become once again a functional necklace.
Perhaps I'll just hold it out to her.
She scrambles to her feet and heads over, and kind of like stops herself briefly, and then just kind of delicately takes it from you to examine it.
I say it was broke. I fixed it.
Okay. Thank you.
We should probably not stay here.
Yeah. Sure. She'll like carefully put it back on and pat it where it falls, and just kind of like go over and very carefully turn off the mace, before putting it back, like hanging it back on her belt.
Seeing how it's like active on the ground, Renji would probably offhandedly say, you might want to consider or reconsider that design.
I guess I haven't had much of an opportunity to to really assess it properly.
That's okay. Consider this a field test. Are you good?
I think I'll be okay.
What does she sound like when she says that?
Give me an insight check.
That's what I was angling for. That is a 14.
It's clear that this event has very much shaken her. She's like even in the midst where she's been in danger before, this, like, she's usually been quick to bounce back. Not necessarily like the bastion of positivity, but very much a case of being able to be back on task and kind of like return to her usual self. She certainly sounds quieter. She sounds a lot more reserved. She is kind of, it's possible that, like, compared to other times that this has been, like, I'm trying to think back of other moments when she's actively taken damage and how this stacks up. And I think, comparatively speaking, this event is probably the closest it's come, considering the amount of damage, even if it is superficial, that she's taken to her armor. And it just is a bit of a shock by comparison.
Yeah, I was wondering if that's like, if it's just a case of, seeing this like respectively like massive horde of undead, or if it was something else, that specifically that necklace getting torn away, if there was something about that.
It's hard to tell at this point. And you all just expended a lot of magical might and done a lot of stuff to fight off a horde of undead within the hundreds, so it's
The last time I threw this amount of magic around, I grew wings.
yeah.
Yep, you did.
It's
I think Renji's also a bit rattled. Yeah, since he hasn't yet started prestidigitating all of the undead muck from clothes and armor and face.
Yeah, we're gross.
Though given the enchantments on Renji's cloak, he still looks dashedly handsome.
I'm gonna fly up out of the pit to help people get out. And I imagine Hikan will run up to help.
Yeah.
Renji will be following close behind.
Yeah. So you kind of you do whatever small amount of cleanup and maybe even a bit of crowd control as perhaps certain citizens who might have been missed peer out from the safety of wherever they were hiding, and I'm guessing you make your way back to the main camp at the land-based entrance to town. As you arrive once again, the guards don't need any further convincing or anything. They just immediately step aside and let you through, and will once again form rank as the last of your retinue enters into the camp. As you do enter, Lady Risha comes up to you and just kind of looks you over and says, "Well, how did it go?"
Seeing her look us over, Renji quickly puts like a hand across his face, cleaning up all of the debris and muck and grime. Says, "We encountered a substantial undead force. As far as we can tell, everything that came after us has been dealt with."
Yep.
Very well. That is good.
I would like to ask for a medic or a healer to check over Mara. She was attacked without any seeming damage so far, but I definitely would like a professional's eye on that.
Of course. By all means.
25.
I mean, Renji gets his wish.
Hey, we found one.
It was like a move.
He died today.
Like Hikan's already kind of like taking off the stethoscope and putting it back over his neck, and as far as you can
Dr. Lucian's just like, where's my stethoscope?
I know it was right around here. But yeah, you have you give Mara the once over, and as far as you can see, besides the again very superficial damage that she might have taken, like there's the impression of like of surface level scars that go across where the ghoul have managed to grab her, but otherwise it's mostly just shock that you're dealing with. It's just a sense of like it's been a very instant traumatic happening, and she might just need to spend a bit of time sitting down, maybe getting some sleep and that sort of thing, like the kind of just prolonged sort of. Basically, you need a long rest. Is
That's fair.
is what you're thinking? Yeah.
Okay. I will pass that along and add that with, I think everybody needs a good rest.
Agreed.
Well, there's
What's any news here?
no news here at the moment. After all, you're only gone for an hour or two at most. I think the best thing for it in this moment in time is for you to get some sleep. The spectacle we saw from over here was quite the show, so I imagine if you took down a lot of the undead, we might be able to start performing more safer scouting missions.
Right.
There should be a building nearby that we can clear out to give you some privacy, and I will start coordinating with the others for some safer scouting of Sarkosa, just to be sure that we have everybody and everything. And then, once we have cleared out the undead, we can start fighting the fire.
Right. Good idea. And Renji can actually just feel the weariness. So he'd be very grateful for a place to sit or rest or lie down and meditate.
Cool. Risha will gesture over to one of the guards who's just kind of patrolling in the grounds and tell them where to take you. This guard will lead you to a small building that appears to have been just another residential home. That was, the insides of it have been quite like thrown about and destroyed. It's at most the cleaning that an organization that they might have done excuse me within this building, whatever they've done is just kind of like remove destroyed furniture or pushed to the side in order to give some appropriate space that people can use to as like a shelter for the moment. The guy kind of says, well, I don't know if you have anything you might need in order to do camp, but you can consider this place yours for the next couple of hours if you just need the rest.
Many thanks.
Turn and leave.
I think Renji will try and find a place where he can just sit and rest. But before he gets into a trance, he would go and ask people, the rest of the Storm's Eye, what they want to do next.
We still gotta hear Risha out, right?
It depends. If she wants our help, then I'll gladly give it, but we were going to be here specifically so we could have a better understanding of the situation down south where we were headed next, I believe.
I guess let's see if she wants to talk about it tomorrow.
That's a fair point.
I think worst comes to worst, there's a bunch of guards, there's her retinue, and then there's Flamgo, Brixton, and Thief Stealer to
Right.
help out for the leftovers here, so...
I forgot to ask about them.
I'm sure they're fine.
I mean, probably.
Regardless, that's in a few hours. Everybody needs all but a rest.
Correct. And with people on guard, we can just take the time that we have. Renji's eyes closes. And he is going into trance for the foreseeable future.
Max waits until everyone else has fallen asleep before he goes to sleep.
It's going to have to wait for a long time because there's...
Air quote sleep.
Okay, gotcha.
Sleep and or sleep equivalents.
Yeah.
If you can't have natural sleep, store-bought is fine.
Mara will find a corner to just kind of sit down in. She'll hug her knees and kind of rest her head on her knees.
I think Hikan would be the second last to go to sleep because he was using the Quake medallion and Max is still awake. And so it's the anxiety. But eventually he finds his strength.
That's why he just goes to sleep in the middle of the room.
Okay. So it is that you all rest. Night. The sounds of industrious work from outside as people begin to stir again, with the hope to perhaps find a way to salvage what is left of Sarkoza. But you find sweet rest, at least for a moment.
Is the
Calm.
moment for... Oh,
Shush.
I'm shushing.
You blink awake. And you kind of begin to look around and find yourself in something of a white void. It's difficult to describe, like, in comparison to I suppose real world perceptions of it. But if you were to look down at yourself, not only are you void of color, your proportions are like very ill-defined. It's like someone has turned the resolution down on you a significant amount. But you're still able to move and function within this space.
We kind of missed who you were talking about, so
Oh, Hikan.
Oh, okay, cool.
Sorry.
Um, uh, as I take a look around, is there anything that stands out in this void?
Give me a perception check.
Absolutely. Yeah, 14.
So with a 14, you have a look around. And you see that there is a discrepancy within this void, within this space. It's a fair distance away, but if you move to try and move toward it, it does get closer to you. So it is within physical distance.
Neat. I'll start heading towards it.
Okay. As you begin walking, you notice that there's no sound. When your feet make contact with the ground, there is no audio to be heard. And as you get closer, you can see what appears to be another individual who is poorly rendered, but you can tell that it is the one who has been visiting all of you in your dreams every so often. This older Hylian in a brown cloak with the gnarled staff and the long wild beard, kind of watches you as you approach. You can tell with like your passive medicine, he seems exhausted. He, like, even with the low resolution on his person, he just seems like he's holding on to the staff in order to keep himself standing.
Exhausted, huh? I don't think I got anything for exhaustion. Is his hand still messed up?
Yeah. Like, it doesn't appear to have progressed in any direction, but the scarring is still there.
I think it's just a casual moment if he's waiting for me to start doing something or to start talking. Hikan goes forward to do Hands of Healing Physician's Touch stuff on it, just to see if it'll help.
Okay.
If it does, cool. If it doesn't, well, I tried. And
It's
about
only a
part of
dream.
yeah. And about part of the way through it, Hikan goes, "Now, I know I don't really care, because every time someone's been magical and messed with us in a wrong way, we've kicked their butts so far. But I think a lot of my friends would appreciate a name or a title, just to kind of go on, to help them feel more comfortable."
As you um as you speak, like, you know, if you talk and you put your hands over your ears,
Hmm.
that's what it kind of sounds like to you. Um, as you watch him, it's difficult to tell at first because of how blurry or how low resolution he seems to be. But he squints slightly as he's not watching your eyes; he's watching your mouth. Um, and he doesn't like shy away as you deal with his as you kind of use your wound, like your magic or use your hand of healing technique in order to try and alleviate some of the pain. When you're finished, he does kind of like stand a little bit straighter, like breathes something of a sigh of relief that you can't really hear. At which point he takes one of his hands, the good hand, and will shakily inscribe on the air between the two of you text, which basically says, "Certain information is dangerous. It pains me that I am unable to be clearer. However, I have one last opportunity to explain all."
Okay. Han's gonna focus really hard.
Yeah, like takes in your measure. And the last thing he writes is, "I am sorry for the inconvenience, full stop. Go here, full stop." And he lets the words hang there for a moment before he puts both hands on his staff, hefts it as high as it can go with the end down, and taps it into the ground. There's no sound as he does that, but when he does so, a series of magical sigils appear on a blank canvas area behind him to make something of a picture. And in it, you can see in full crisp color, clear as day, what appears to be a solitary wizard's tower. Like a bit more well kept than what Torquin had, a bit more grander and elegant, one could say. But where it stands is in an endless sea of sand. End to end, all the way to the horizon under a brilliant blue sky, this wizard tower stands as standing out from everything else around it. You can see a couple of distinct mesas in the background, possibly the only landmarks within this sea of sand that you can make out compared to the rest of it. But the wizard tower itself is there as clear as day. And he once again loses a significant more amount of his energy as he kind of like properly props himself up on his staff. And then kind of looks to you with this sort of apologetic look of like communicating of, "I am really sorry, but this is the only thing I've got."
Okay. I will compromise with the survival check, but could I make a history or a survival check to understand where that might be in comparison,
Sure.
given my history with Gerudo? So which one would you prefer that I roll in this case?
I would say if you're wanting to recognize landmarks, it would be best to do survival.
Okay. It's a 13.
Okay. Hard to say at the moment. It might be further into the desert than you've ever been. But it's certainly somewhere. You think you recognize one or two of the mesas that exist in that area. Just kind of like most of the Gerudo Desert is just flat sandland and dunes, so there aren't too many mesas in order to make comparisons to, but you can certainly tell where, like, at least one of them. You might need to, if you commit the image to memory, you might be able to take another crack at it another time.
I will definitely take my time to do that. I was planning on doing that anyway for a couple of things, but
Yeah.
I just want to verify something on this real quick.
Okay.
Okay, no. Wanderer doesn't give me any advantage on that. It just makes it so that way I can feed people.
Okay.
Okay. But yeah. Fuck it. I'll wake up with 0 key points. If he wants to sit there and give him a little bit more energy. But yeah, that's it. I've got the message. I've committed the place to memory, and I'm ready to wake up when I feel rested.
As you kind of like take it in and like give him like a nod of confirmation or anything, he nods himself, and the void, like, he just bleeds into the void of white before that dims back to darkness, and you wake up fully rested. So you have all your key points back, so it's all good. Meanwhile, as the night went on, I want everybody else to make for me wisdom saves.
No,
good.
actually, I'm pretty good at
18.
those. So I rolled a 2!
9.
Okay. Thank you.
Have a sauceroni with them.
I am not happy.
18, 11, and 9. Your sleep, the sleep that the three of you have is significantly more restless.
I'm used to that.
You've had each of you in your own different ways and degrees have had nightmares before. Some could say having been more familiar with nightmares than anyone else, but the nightmares you have this night are odd. There's no clarity to them. It's just abstract feelings of being watched, being judged, being analyzed, picked apart. Like something there knows something of that you know that you haven't told anyone or haven't imparted to anyone else. Something about this sleep tells you that something or someone is watching you and knows a significant amount of information, more so than you would like to let on. It's fitful. It's that feeling of the best way I can describe it. Do you guys know what hypnagogic hallucinations are?
I do not.
That's a word?
I've heard of them, but I can't have them.
So you know when you're about to fall asleep and like your body says, "Oh God, I'm falling," and you wake up with a start?
I am familiar with that.
That's a similar sort of sensation, but instead of it being a sense of falling, it's having this idea that as you fall asleep, something in the room, like it could be a visual hallucination, an auditory hallucination, basically you feel like I'm probably not even pronouncing it right, but basically the idea is that you're about to fall asleep and you think something in the room is there, it's dangerous and a problem.
Sleep paralysis.
Yes and no. Because you still have the full range of motion to deal with it. I've had hypnagogic hallucinations a lot before. I've actually had to, I've fallen asleep, or I've been about to fall asleep, and been under the impression that my room has suddenly been filled with swarms of insects. Like a couple of times I've had them, and I've had to actively flee my bedroom before I was fully awake and realized what had happened. So yeah, they're not a good time. But that's the kind of sensation that you're getting in this sort of situation. Like you have fallen asleep, but as you are sleeping, you get the sensation that something or someone is watching you. It knows a lot about you, and it's a threatening experience. And as you wake up in the morning, you do get that kind of start that forces you like up and about. Max and Max, you respond in your typical fashion of lightning bolt straight up. I imagine new hole in the ceiling. That's great.
Yeah, like straight at. I imagine he felt like what was watching was above him, so it's like bam.
Yeah. And Renji, you rolled an 11, so you probably feel that intensity a bit more. Like Zayden, with your 18, you find yourself like you wake up with a start, but you're able to kind of rationalize the situation and kind of relax a bit. It doesn't help, like moments later, that Max does a Max and explodes the ceiling with a strong ass lightning bolt. Renji, how do you react to this this sensation?
I think either very close to what Max does, Eldritch Blast instead of Lightning Bolt, but possibly feeling that. And it's like the moment when I wake up, correct?
Yeah.
The moment I wake up, my eyes go wide open, and I grab from next to me the hilt, ignite, and would probably slice through like one of the beams in the house. that's just next to me,
Yeah.
thinking that this predator, this dangerous and dangerous existence, this risk is next to me.
Okay.
After I explode the ceiling, does it feel like it's gone?
It certainly feels like it's gone. Like after each of you have retaliated in some way, shape, or form, you are able to rationalize that that's not what's happening. You are now you are awake. You are in a safe area of Sarkoza. And
Gods.
yeah.
Max just grumbles himself. Yeah, you better run.
Glancing over to Max. Bad dreams.
What do you think?
Just wanted confirmation. Crud.
There's as you're kind of like contemplating this, there's a sudden as like a couple of guards rush in with spears, like, oh, is everything all right? Is everything okay?
Max just glares at them from the middle of the room.
Yes.
I'm gonna click the
Sorry.
button. I'm gonna
Yeah.
click the button.
Apologies.
Like, Renji, even as you're beginning to say, it's okay. It's just I don't know, their entire attention is focused on Max, and without a word, they just kind of slowly begin to back out of the room and leave you be. The
Like, I too have a plus 15 to charisma skills.
yeah.
Really, which ones?
Deception and persuasion.
Yeah.
So me trying to dissuade them is like, well, there is someone really nice here, but also no.
No, it's fine. I got this.
I was gonna say, like the routine isn't so much the routine between you isn't so much good cop, bad cop. It's good cop, guy they got off the street.
Good cop and violence.
Yeah.
Dragon. Also, I resent being called cop.
That's fine. I know. It's
Even
just
though
it's the quick.
we are
It was the
working
quickest
for the
thing
established
I could think of.
order.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's no equivalent that isn't cop yet.
Yeah.
Need to make one up.
Yeah.
Important question.
Yeah.
Because I'm in a magically induced quote unquote sleep at the moment. Do I sleep through that?
You wake up perfectly fine after either you sleep through it or you were the first to wake up and kind of are like of a state of mind that you're prepared for it.
I think it is more hilarious if I sleep through it, so I slept through it.
Okay.
Fair. Now, I do want to know, can we press the button labeled long rest?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
I did, but I took the slot off in my lightning bolt.
I will recover up to 7 hit dice, 4 spell slots, Bardic Inspiration, my Hexblade's Curse, and my 2 spells that I get from my feet.
Yes.
Yes, for some reason my feet give me spells.
Yeah.
Why not?
You have once a day spells through your feet.
Yep.
But I think Hikan wakes wakes up, kind of hops to his to a sitting position, notices the destruction and does not acknowledge it, but goes straight to drawing the tower.
Okay.
So that way he does not forget.
Fair enough. Zayden, are you doing anything particular as you wake up in the morning? As said, you've had the least startling awakening out of the 3 people who had experienced nightmares. But do you do anything in particular as you wake up?
Poseidon, probably gonna sit up, stretch a bit, Are we in the same room?
I imagine so.
I think so, yeah.
There's,
I don't know how much of this building is left before we went to sleep.
Hmm.
Not much. It was like it had a roof.
Mhm. Had.
It counts for something.
Yeah.
Probably just kind of go over to check that Max is okay. Seeing the usual glare takes that to mean, yeah, they are doing normally. I'll just look up through the new hole in the ceiling. Oh, well, at least get a good view of the sky.
Yeah. As you look up, much of the smoke from 4 hours ago has seemingly dissipated. So it's an overcast. Morning at the very least. But the smog seems to have cleared.
Once Max has calmed down a bit, we'll go and check on Mara again.
You find Mara still in the corner where she sat herself down, but instead of like being in the same sort of position where she was last time, she's essentially huddled in the corner with her hands over her head. She's shivering slightly.
I'm gonna say,
I will cast detect magic.
I'm just gonna say, are you okay? Sorry if I startled you.
Yeah. So as Renji, you cast detect magic.
Yeah, like immediately, no ritual, just through my
Spell.
packed slot. And I, like, knowing what happened to me and Max, and now Mara being in this state, I just want to see if I can notice any sort of, like, magical attachment or whatever spirit that is near here.
Besides the bag of holding that she has on her person, as well as the ring of expedient rest, she has nothing magical about her.
And I ritual cast detect poison and disease.
Sure.
Okay.
So
I will do that.
You ritual cast detect poison and disease. Max, as you kind of go over and ask if Mara's okay, she kind of like lowers her hand slightly to look up to you. And a part of her, like, as she sees you there, she kind of
I'll kneel down next to her so it's more comfortable.
she kind of like exhales a little bit and says, okay, just a startling way to wake up, you know?
Yes, it is.
After the 10 minutes are up, you detect no poison or disease. In fact, most of the poison that you can find is in vials that are part of Mara's alchemy kit that is not held within the bag of holding. It's just, yeah, she seems physically fine. If anything, if she wasn't affected by the same nightmares from last night, it might just be that her being in a state of shock, I suppose, from the previous night's fight, followed by being woken up by a lightning bolt to the ceiling, might have really spooked her.
I did apologize.
Yeah, she acknowledges that, but it still like takes a while for her to calm down.
But as Zaiden's spell takes effect, my eyes go from their dark pixely appearance back to the red irises.
I'm just gonna sit next to Mara until she feels better.
Mm-hmm. I am going to go and look for some food.
Do you head out for food?
Yeah, I'd probably just go and ask the guards if they have if there's a stockpile somewhere.
You head outside to meet with the guards. Does anybody go with Renji?
Max is taking my Mara.
I'm drawing right now. I think I'm hyper focused on that, and then it'll probably get to a point where, like, where'd Renji go when I finished?
Okay, so I don't go with Renji.
Okay. So the two of you head outside. It doesn't take you long to find the guards from before. They're kind of just conferring with each other of like, do we come in and ask now? What do we do? And it's like, oh, hello. Everything all right?
For now, apologies for the rude awakening.
Right. Okay.
You
Well.
look like you have something on your mind.
Well, no. It's just we saw a lightning bolt strike this building, and but in the
Other way
opposite
around,
direction.
actually.
Yeah. So we thought, just can't really sit around and believe everything's okay and dandy, and then not investigate that. So we thought we'd come and take a look.
It's a fair point. Unfortunately, the undead presence in this city has had some unfortunate side effects is not really the right word for it. Lingering effects, shall we say.
I see.
We're
Well,
going to be dealing with that, and we're not going to be staying here for very long anyway, so please rest assured.
Yeah, I mean, it's just if you need to get a kind of idea as to what's currently going on, we can always come and get Raisha and come and have a speak to you. But for the most part, if you need just a bit more time to wake up, then don't blame you. What's this now? It's like you are the Storm's Eye, right? This would be what, the second time you've saved our town? It's just
I wish it wasn't necessary.
Well, neither do we, but it's in a sense that we're still incredibly thankful for it. So we don't want to impede you for getting any kind of rest or anything.
No, it's quite alright. We were actually looking for something to break our fast.
Ah, right. Well, if that's the case, I believe there are some. If you head over to that side of the camp, and he points towards like the opposite side of it, it says that's where rations are being doled out and everything.
Excellent. All right.
Yeah. We'll won't keep you long. I'll go and inform Ms. Raisha that you'll be ready to talk in, say, half an hour.
Half an hour would be wonderful. What are your names, if I may ask?
Oh, my name's Gerald, and this is Gearhart. And the other
Gearhart.
guard, who's slightly taller, broader shouldered, just kind of waves a bit and says hello.
I would like to formally thank you for keeping up with your duties in such a time of crisis. The kingdom is grateful to you.
Happy to help.
And Renji just heads for the stockpile. He is very his mood is very dour.
Yeah.
And so it's like he's saying these things mostly as a rote thing. But with his natural persuasiveness, It feels like very, very, very dour and very serious to them, probably.
Yeah. But yeah, they kind of like let you go, and then if Zayden goes with, they'll head off to try and find Lady Risha.
Yeah, because
Yeah. But yeah, you get to the ration line. It appears like it isn't abject chaos, thankfully. Like, in fact, the number of people who are within the camp seems to have gone down slightly, but no one's kind of sitting being like anxious as to where everyone is. The number of guards there have halved, and a number of civilians are not in the camp. Like, it's a smaller crowd than you remember.
So I take it that people have started leaving the camp now that the undeads are thinned in their numbers.
Yeah. You imagine that, like, with your passive insight, you imagine that for the most part, like, half of the guards have probably gone out to do those scouting missions that Risha mentioned, and also potentially taken, like, some laborers with them who might be able to...
Right.
Yeah. As you kind of walk through the camp, you still hear, like, the sound of fire and other like, additional chaos is no longer present. The smell of blood and burned lumber is still heavy on the air, but that's going to be kind of the status quo for quite a while, one imagines. Yeah.
I bet after this we're going to see a lot of the same guy holding signs out in Hyrule Field.
Yeah. Yeah, you head over to the area where they're kind of handing out rations. A couple of the workers there will provide you with like, upon asking and like stating how many people need food, they will provide you a meal of bread, cheese, an apple, and a admittedly quite generous slice of what appears to be ham. When I say generous, like doorstopper kind of thickness ham. But it's yeah, so they'll kind of like provide that. They'll bundle it up in some cloth and provide it to you, like these bundles to you.
And it's going to be for like the entirety of the Storm's Eye?
So basically each of you has that, like, per person. So in
okay.
total you have like 5 bits of bread, 5 bits of cheese, 5 apples, and 5 bits of ham.
And again, like, give a proper formal thanks to the people that are distributing this. Some nods and platitudes towards the people waiting. And probably as we head back, I look over to Zayden. I don't know how long we can take this. I don't know how long I can take this.
The dreams?
The dreams, the constant seeing people in need, and while they're grateful that we're here, just the continuous crises that we have to deal with. Gets a bit much. Are you not experiencing the same?
Well, it just takes a moment looking out around. I've experienced plenty, and I think it only really gets bad when you don't feel that you can do anything.
I suppose we are lucky that we can do things about it.
Yes.
Alright, let's get these to everyone, and I will hand Zayden his share, unless he's like carrying like half. And as we get to the rest of them, Renji will hand out each share that he's got.
That's something I wanted to say while you guys were gone.
Okay.
Just while I'm sat there, Mar to say. I did say you could talk to me if you wanted to.
Yeah, I want to, but I can't.
It's
I
fine.
don't know. Thank you.
That's it.
Yeah,
Max is the boy a few words.
that's fine. That's okay. She appreciates the company at the very least. But yeah, you return and distribute the food out to everybody. Everybody gets their breakfast. I imagine at this point that Hikan, this is where you've completed your drawing.
Okay. Alright. Sorry about that. I needed to do this because I would forget.
You can explain what this is yet?
Yep. Our good dream friend visited me last night. He is not doing so hot. And he said he has one last chance to explain some stuff. And he wants us to find a tower that looks like this, from what I could see. And I know it's in the middle of the desert somewhere. I don't know where. And I pass the drawing around.
Does it like ring a bell for Renji?
I don't know. I don't think it would, and like I don't.
Max isn't gonna know.
Because I don't think any of you have, like, besides maybe Hikan, and even then not terribly far in, like, have actively set foot into the Gerudo Desert. Because it's something that the Gerudo don't like people, like, outsiders doing most of the time.
Sarkosa is the furthest on this side of the map that Max has ever been.
Fair.
My question is, do we want to take care of that first? And then take care of the stuff in the village, give Risha some time? Or do we want to take care of the stuff in the villages first?
I think we should have the breakfast here. Then talk with Risha about what she would like us to do. Because while we have some sway within the court of Hyrule, she is still a lady.
And
That's... She can invoke her rank to make us do things, if she really wanted to. However, that said, given that
Maxis gives you a look like she could try.
she can try, and even without your recalcitrant nature, Max, it would be a tough decision for her.
Right.
But we were gonna talk to her anyway, right?
Yes. So, with that in mind, it's either going to be helping out here, going to the southern villages, or what? Do we want to go straight through to the Gerudo Desert?
Did the old guy say it was urgent?
I don't know
Yeah.
about you, but he was very shady.
Yeah,
he never
but
talked
like
to me.
he, I haven't talked to him a bit either. But I want to know what he's up to.
Here's my
Yeah.
every time that someone's been shady or has done us wrong, we've kicked their butts. He's not gonna be any different if it gets to that, okay?
True, but I don't want to go to a desert in order to specifically kick someone's butt.
Well, we're
And
going
my-
specifically to get information. We might incidentally kick his butt.
that.
Did I
I
just
will
use
be
incidentally
very
right?
indignant doing so.
I was just like, did I just use incidentally right?
That's perfectly
Yes.
fine.
Rangy's rubbing off on Max. Oh
Oh,
no.
no.
I understand that he's been shady. He hasn't done anything to hurt any of us, as far as I can tell. And he seems to have some kind of knowledge about all the mystical stuff. For all I know, he might know where to get some of the stuff that we're looking for.
Mm.
But if we're going straight to the if we are gonna go to the desert, I've got letters I need to write
Mhm.
to get messages there faster than I can.
Mm.
Okay.
And I'm gonna
If we get
write.
Risha to come, yeah, you could write them while we're talking to her.
hmm And knowing how the postal system in Hyrule works, I write one letter to Master Gorin, and I write one letter to Tyrina Gaul.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So you spent some time writing that down, and shortly after you begin, and while you wait, there's a knock on the door frame of the building you're in, and Risha pokes her head in and says, "Are you alright to talk now, or should I come back later?"
We go right ahead.
Very well. You'll enter in, and kind of make yourself comfortable by leaning against a wall nearby. Like her finery as a noble, practical as it is now like covered in soot and torn in places and stuff, but she doesn't seem to take much notice of it. But she kind of situates herself and says, "Well, thank you for coming. I can assure you that the circumstances that we have found ourselves in immediately were not intentional. It is simply fortunate that you were here, because gods know I would not have been able to handle it without individuals of your capability. But to not belabor a point any longer, I wish to talk to you about various different tactical opportunities that might occur with the war in the south. The problem is I can't use you directly with the war, if that makes any kind of sense."
we are not necessarily a military unit.
That's precisely it. The situation in the south is significantly more complex than any of us might have imagined at the moment. Midas and Vestal are vehemently determined to refuse any form of peace offering that doesn't weigh heavily in their favor, and recently it has gotten slightly worse. We have found that it's been known and made clear that Cassandra Summerborn is wanted for conspiracy to commit regicide, and aiding and abetting an assassin, as well as her part in the Twilight Cartel itself. In fact, as far as we can tell with our records, she may be, in fact, be the only remaining named member. But the rebelling villagers seem to be aware of that too. From the looks of it, now that the Twilight Cartel has been torn asunder, for lack of a better term, Cassandra, being the de facto leader, I suppose, has decided to not subtly manipulate both sides of the war for the sake of profit, but has instead thrown everything in rather publicly in aiding the rebelling villages. And as such, whenever any form of diplomatic discussion is brought to the table to end the conflict, the rebelling villages are demanding that Cassandra be given complete and total immunity, which is a non-negotiable factor.
And is that the point of contention within the entirety now? Is that the reason they won't stop fighting?
Essentially. I don't know what she's promised them, and I don't know what she plans to do, but they seem to have gotten into their heads that these two villages by themselves can take on the entire kingdom, and it's only by the grace that we have decided not to drop the hammer, so to speak, that they are capable of doing that. The thing is, we can't drop the hammer, because it would be, well, woefully unfair, and annexing both Midas and Vestal would only lead to further resentment, and those who are currently loyal to the crown would, but with shaky confidence in it, especially with Marius now king, might see this as an unfortunate turn that would only serve to embolden further conflicts such as this. We cannot even perform any kind of covert arrest or targeted assassination of Cassandra herself alone, simply because doing so would ultimately turn her into a martyr and galvanize them.
Then what do you suggest we do?
Well, that's the other problem. You have made a name for yourselves within the kingdom. If we were to use you in any form of conflict directly with the war, then that might send the message that we can only rely on highly paid, powerful mercenaries in order to do the job. Or, alternatively, it would be just as bad as if we were to send the full weight of the royal army. It would simply say that we were overplaying our hand, and the whole process would go downhill. However, there are aspects I think I can use you for lack of a better description, and I think it would serve to better safeguard the kingdom as a whole, as well as the villages that exist in that area. There are two potential problems that we have identified that can run fully independent of what everything is. Normally when it comes to wars such as this, especially within the ranks of the Civil War, it has never been anything more than foot soldiers and border skirmishes and shouting at each other from across a ravine. But now two new elements have entered into play. One, there have been reports from Avrdal prior to its accession that it had spied what appeared to be a collection of moblins that had been prowling around the the countryside. We don't have much information on them as it stands, but
The
they've...
pen snaps in Hikan's hand at the mention of the moblins. He just puts it away and
Renji's-
grabs another one.
Renji glances over at Hikan when when the name drops. Yeah.
We don't, as I said, we don't know much about them. We do know, however, that they appear to be more organized than we had anticipated them to be, but taking no side. Informants that have positioned themselves within Midos and Vestal say that attempts by those villagers to enlist the moblins have met with failure. It hasn't met with violence. They just simply had nothing that the moblins wanted, which is curious considering most things.
Also, DM, I would like to
Yep.
do something with sleight of hand
Sure.
here. A 34.
What are you attempting to do?
I would like to cast in Siri mending on Lady Risha's garments.
Very well. With a 34, because she's kind of invested in explaining the situation with the war to you, she doesn't notice at all as her garments fix and clean themselves.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, 34, hot damn.
It's only a 17.
It's only a 17. She continues to say, the issue that we're currently facing at the moment is the matter of Avrdal itself. Since they seceded, we cannot, by any stretch, continue to provide military aid to them. Diplomatically, we believe that they were hoping that simply stepping away from the kingdom and excusing themselves from the fighting would be enough to keep them safe, but unfortunately they've been facing some additional pressure from Midos and Vestal to simply join their side of the war.
May
Don't
I
know.
suggest something?
Oh?
We, due to ongoing developments, will need to travel south to the Gerudo Desert.
Right.
What if, while doing so, we travel close between Vestal and Rudal, possibly encountering these moblins? And if we take a little bit longer than just a straight forward path down, and someone were to, ask what we're doing, we can simply say that we're traveling down a bit with business of our own. And if we do happen to run into the moblins, we can take care of that.
That is one possibility, yes. And as said, I cannot directly point you in a direction, so if you happen to be in the area and taking care of them in that fashion, that would be beneficial to us, and we can provide some plausible deniability that we had directly influenced you in that fashion. The other situation, I might as well inform you of. We do have more information on this individual, but it appears that in the midst of attempting to revitalize their military capabilities, Midos and Vestal seem to have employed a new general to their ranks. This general being a Lionel that names itself Maelstrom.
A Lionel, you say?
Indeed, a red one.
Did we encounter a red one nearby Green Hills Village and Flamgo's shop?
You freed a red Lionel from Flango's shop, yes.
It's just like, huh. First noise he's made this entire conversation. Just
Interesting.
It is a curious sight. From what our reports and understanding of Lionels are, they don't typically like to play with other people, including other Lionels, which is odd. It would be more plausible to say that the Moblins would have been more enticed by whatever Midos and Vestal had been rather than this Maelstrom would, but it is proving quite effective in their combat. We do not know exactly what it is that we can do against a Lionel that would not incur more speculation on the part of the Crown if we were to increase the number of forces that were surrounding Kingsward alone, which would be the village that we would have to send them to, if anything.
Alright, we'll go say hi.
Okay.
The Lionel.
I mean, if it's the same one.
Do you say any of that out loud?
I think
yeah.
I think I would drop that, like, if it's the same one in public conversation, yes.
Yeah.
Risha will raise about says the same one.
We had a run-in with a Lionel a long time ago.
It wasn't like a fight run-in, but like a...
We freed it
It
from
was-
captivity.
It was in a box, so we got him out of the box.
Right.
Does Risha have a map, or do we have a map?
We
You
have a map.
Yep,
Okay.
I've made several.
Hikan stops writing the letters for a moment, grabs the map, and goes, "Well, there is a new space that's being built up that soldiers could probably be sent to. That's far enough away, but maybe close enough to do something." And I point at Automark.
Hmm.
Oh yes, of course. These new developments are always so hard to keep track of most days. Yes, if you are, given that it is your barony, if you are willing to allow our soldiers to hang around in the area, for lack of a better term, then we will send them there. But it is, after all, your territory.
If they can help a little bit with construction, I don't see why not. And I will say this very much tongue-in-cheek and very much obvious that that is not a requirement.
Very well. We'll see what needs to be done.
Part of me wishes Hikan had more intelligence, because it would have been, well, I have to check with the other barons and just look around the room.
I should say, like, what are you looking at me? I should say, like,
in
what?
favor of this idea.
I should say, like, what are you looking at me for?
You're one of them.
I am? Since when?
Since we talked to the king.
God, it was ages ago.
Yeah, I know. We've been barons for a very long time.
Well,
What's a baron?
It's what you are. You know, wings, scaly.
Really, really good at it.
Oh, okay.
It's like Lady
that was a
Risha, but
dragon.
not. Okay. But that's
Yeah.
just an idea for troop movements. But so, what you would want us to do, just to make sure, because I've been busy, you want us to help with Gorespire, and you want us to help with Maelstrom.
If you
Gorespire is the
if-
Moblin.
Oh, you know this Moblin.
Yeah, he's an asshole.
We've had prior dealings.
I see. And given your reaction, I assume I can entrust that you have the motivation in order to deal with him if he were to arise.
Yes.
Yes. I think when we meet him again, I think I know the exact words that Hikan would have for this Moblin. You have something I want.
Oh, I was just gonna scream and go for his kneecaps.
That was too.
I stand corrected. No
Well.
memory today.
But that is the, as said, that is the situation as it stands. No one would bat an eye that the kingdom's most well-known adventurers by this point would be willing to deal with a dangerous Lionel or a collection of moblin brigands that are clearly not associating themselves with the war. So, by all stretch of the imagination, how you see fit to deal with them, I will leave to you and your various expertise. As for the rest of the war, we shall just have to deal with that the long way until we can figure something out.
Okay.
Now I do wonder, and I will mostly address the others, though I don't mind Risha overhearing this, of course. Is how we might travel. Because if we see, we're currently over in Sarkosa, and we could, say, go from Sarkosa directly to Gerudo Fortress. I don't know how much of a provocation that would be considered.
Has Zayden brought up the scrying transport via plants thing?
Oh,
As a
the...
possibility?
I'm not sure if it's ever been mentioned.
Okay. Well, if it hasn't, then I got nothing. Because I was going to say you could scry on Gorespire, because I highly doubt he's got the wisdom to resist it.
Yeah,
He might,
and
though.
when you find a tree, we can just go bamf
Yeah.
in.
I don't even need to spy on Ghostspire, remember? I can scry on the medallion and it cannot resist.
That's fair too.
Although I haven't prepared scrying today because I was like, I don't need scrying.
Can you ritual cast scry?
I don't think so.
Ah.
I think the only classic ritual cast without being prepared is Wizards.
Oh yeah. Hikan suggests going as the crow flies, straight from Sarkosa all the way down to Gerudo Fortress. What to
I don't know anything about this area, so I'm gonna just trust you guys.
If we want to simply teleport near to Ghostspire, I already did scry on him once, so did I see any plants then?
You did, but you can't guarantee that he's there again.
Yeah, he slept since then.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
go do something, you know.
I was going to say it's been like a couple of weeks at minimum since that happened.
Yeah, slept at
We
least
will-
once since then.
We will be somewhere around the big red rectangle, though, so we'll be
Yeah.
closer.
Yeah.
And taking a look at the map, I think Hikan will actually point out a little space. God, it's been months. It's been years at this point, but I think it's right about here.
You know what?
Actually, point there.
It's actually
Nailed it.
like you nailed it exactly.
Well done.
You know why? You know
Yeah.
why? That mountain's got a little divot in there. Where else would Sheikah be?
That's true. That's true.
But Hikan will point there.
I should probably move the Roll20 camera down so you can see. Yeah. But yeah. Kind of looks at the map, says, interesting. Okay. Well.
Yeah, shit. No, I'm kidding.
You needn't worry. we've been informed quite significantly that any major Sheikah settlement is meant to be left to the Sheikah, for they are the ones who know best on how to maintain it.
Upon hearing that it's a Sheikah settlement, Max will say, "Are they going to shoot me again?"
No. This is where it was kind of a neutral space, and we'd help patch people up and be a stopping point to Gerudo Fortress. It's not like the village, no.
Max looks skeptical.
I promise.
He trusts you. He doesn't trust the Sheikah at this monster.
That's fair. But yeah.
He's like, he
Okay.
trusts Renji, but the ones at Kakariko tried to shoot him.
So do we want to teleport over there, or do we want to walk or borrow horses?
I mean, I can fly if we're walking.
Can you fly as fast as a horse?
I have no idea. Because Max doesn't know how fast horses go.
60
I've
feet.
ridden on horses.
Yeah, but he doesn't know how fast they go. He just knows they go.
Horses do in fact go.
They do. Yeah.
That feels very much like. And how about cargo space? Oh no, no cargo space. Cargo road.
Cargo Road, yeah. Max is very much Cargo Road.
Yeah.
What do you mean a shrimp fried these rice?
Apartment complex seems quite simple to me.
Roadworks ahead.
Man, I sure hope it does.
Exactly.
Oh dear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man.
Enough tomfoolery.
No.
So Risha will kind of look over the look over the map and say, well, if it helps, depending on where you wish to go, if we know ahead of time, we can at the very least coordinate some of our troops so that they would at least be in the position to aid you if you needed it, or keep out of the way if you need the space, as it were.
When the whole thing you were saying about it making us look like we were just going down there for other reasons mean that it's better if they don't know?
I mean, in the sense of if they... well, I suppose that is true. Now that you mention it. I was thinking
I
perhaps
guess
if you
traveling
needed...
through the rebelling region would raise some eyebrows as well.
It would be difficult to say whether or not the anybody within anywhere on the continent, let alone within the kingdom, it would be unaware of your exploits. Especially if I recall correctly from the documentation that I've been handed, Cassandra does very much know who you are.
Yes.
She's met like some of you. Us. I don't know why I said you.
I've had run-ins with her personally. Yes.
Did Max ever talk to her?
No.
I think the
I
only
don't know if
people
you
that
were there at the
Jordan
time
talked
when
to-
you went to investigate her house and she fled.
Max didn't go in or anything.
Yeah.
Max and Zaiden were outside. I think the only people that Cassandra's directly interacted with were Renji and Hikan specifically just violently.
Yeah.
Although she has had dealings with the cartel, so she has met my clones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Darn it, my clones.
How dare.
But yeah.
Okay. I
Yeah, and we
think
dance together.
to save time, getting in there would be good. If I were somebody that was about to have a complete area destabilized due to a militaristic occupation, my head hurts. Give me a second.
It's okay.
Let's go.
I would put food and things as close as I can to be released when possible. And I point again at the barony. But
Very well.
that's on your end. You're the person whose job it is. We're gonna go fuck up a pig.
Yep. Let's go.
Very well.
It's time we start making bacon.
Is that racist?
Probably. But I meant it more in the sense of all cops are bastards.
Yeah. It's like moblins are playable.
Ah, darn it.
But yeah. With that, Rish says, well, I will send missives and make sure that there is a contingent that is positioned near Artemark, and we'll have some appropriate supplies ready for the sake of triage after the fact, depending on what happens. I will leave you to what you do best, and I wish you luck in the endeavors to come.
Thank you. You be safe and take care too.
Yeah.
He takes a bit of a bow and turns and leaves you to it.
Cleaner and less ragged than she arrived.
Yeah.
Who's gonna tell Kai about the guest he's gonna have?
I think we should send a letter.
The girl standing stone, right? Or did we give that one away?
No, we haven't gotten that one
Oh,
yet
right,
to
yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well,
we can go directly to Gerudo Fortress. We can go this way.
I
Could
think
we even go this way?
I think we teleport in wherever we're at in the red square. That'll give us some time because they won't expect it. And then we head to the monastery to stock up. And that's also where I'm telling Tyrina to meet us if Tyrina's there. So
Are we going for any scrying before teleporting?
You
We'd
need
have to wait a day.
Yeah.
Do we have a day?
The
we?
mage in your
Wait.
dreams did not give you a specific time limit.
Hikan shrugs.
he has a plot amount of time.
Yeah.
We'll have a dangerous amount of time to rely on.
Yep.
The quest is on
It's-
hold
it's-
for now.
Yeah. The quest is urgent, but also it only starts when you do it. So
Yeah.
Find old man. Quest accepted.
3 months later, you found the old man.
It's the opposite direction of, you've done a specific bit of plot. Have a rest. Seconds later. Okay, now you've had your rest. It's time to do the next
Every
chapter.
Final Fantasy patch after you've gone there way after it's come out.
Yeah.
Look, I just don't want it to happen that we've taken on this quest and then 4 minutes later we suddenly get a message.
You have failed the quest.
You failed the quest. Target was poached.
It just quest fails appears in the middle of the screen. You're like, what? Why?
Oh dear.
When if asked about time, Hikan shrugs. I don't think he works on the same time frame as everybody else.
So we're going straight to the monastery from there. We're not gonna deal with Ghostfire first.
No, I want to deal with Gorespire first.
Oh, okay.
We could do Maelstrom on the way back if need be, but I definitely want to get Gorespire.
All right. Let's go.
Okay.
Fair enough.
You pack your things. You
Send some letters.
send your letters. You find a post box outside that is still miraculously in decent condition.
I would expect nothing less.
Yeah, you kind of slot the letters in. At which point, like there's a kind of little inside it before a small wooden placard pops up out the side, and two little, like a series of tumblers kind of begin moving to say that the price for these letters is roughly 2 silver.
Okay. I will pay it. I was almost just like about to be able pull a tinkle and just put payment on delivery. No. Con would not do that.
The moment those coins are deposited, you can see off on the horizon, like someone running towards you.
Yeah.
They know. How do they know?
They're good at their job.
That doesn't explain anything.
They're really good at their job.
That doesn't explain.
No one messes with the Hylian Postal Service. No one.
Come rain or sleet or the glom of knit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a Pratchett reference.
Hey, the glove of knit is serious business, right?
Look, the glom of knit slaps. It's got hands.
Yeah.
Okay. As you've done that, you are free to go. Mara's taken a little bit of time to kind of like change her attire slightly to a less broken one, and will kind of just follow after you guys.
If I'd remembered if the RFA was served, I would have fixed it.
That's fine. It's okay. And you find the nearest appropriate tree.
Probably a bit outside of town.
Yeah. And with a swift incantation, you proceed through the portal as it unfurls, presenting a new horizon before you. You all step through swiftly, and leaving behind you the smell of burnt lumber and the sound of a town no longer in a decent way. You all reappear in the overcast and quite windy plains that exists between the villages of Vestal, Midas, and Rudal.
No, it's heckin' windy.
There is still something of a smell of burning, though it is very, very faint. As a tree portal closes behind the five of you. You stand next to a tree amidst the remains of what appears to be a very hastily constructed camp. There's a couple of other some of the trees you might have seen fully standing beforehand, as sparse as they are in this area, have been chopped down. There's what remains of hastily constructed lean-tos and a fire pit that is burned out, you reckon, at least a day or two ago. It's just the smell of ash is still within the general area. The rolling plains as far as you can see. As you kind of position yourself around, I'm just going to have where's my ruler tool? There it is. Snap to center. Yeah, I think with the way that the layout of this area is, with it being rolling hills and everything, you can see kind of like the tops of roofs and the chimney smoke that comes from Vestal to the northeast.
Well, I'll definitely see them when I fly up to look around.
Yeah. As you do that, you head up to the sky. You look around. You see Vestal to the northeast. You see like small collections of troop formations moving about. You do not see your Lionel friend in that area.
Nor any moblins.
Yeah, nor any moblins. Looking to the west, you spy Midos village further away, twice as far away, in fact, as to where you currently are. Harder to make out the troop formations over there, given the distance. But you can definitely see a village in that direction. If you're looking specifically for moblins, give me a perception check.
I would like to use the brute flying, and either I can lead it or Max can lead it with advantage.
What's your number?
9.
You lead. I help.
I wish I could fly.
15.
15. As you ascend and look around, you can see that there are a number of different little campsites that are available in different directions. You can see even further away from where you are is possibly Hyrule to the east. And you are also able to see like small collections of soldiers nearby, or like just around in these areas here, who are either marching in different directions or have set up their own small camps, none of which are moblins. You can see the ever-present line of mountainous terrain to the south that stretches past the horizon, where you know, lying within them, is not only the Gerudo Fortress, but also your monastery. But perhaps there will be an opportunity to find out where these moblins have gone to next time, because I'm going to end the session here, and we'll continue on in the next session with perhaps some survival checks.
Leave
and
myself a
everything.
note again.
Yeah. Okay. But yes, thank you everybody for watching / listening. I have been ArticulateT. This has been episode 114 of Hyrule Chronicles. And with me, as always, I have Renji Vox being played by Nether.
Yee-hoo.
I have had Hikan Sio being played by Avrdal.
Good night.
I have had Zaiden Shari being played by Robert Pirate.
Hi.
And I have had Max being played by Keistrith.
Max 2, ceiling 0.
We'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Bye.